Stadia is a dumpster fire. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how could I say something so controversial yet so unique? You know, I didn't want Stadia to be a failure. I actually don't want many things to be a failure, but we all knew that Stadia was going to be a dumpster fire. Now, I've been following the Stadia train as much as I've been following the Fallout 76, and I like to look at the news for Stadia about every couple days so often, just to see where it stands, and it's really not doing so well. What was the last major game updates that happened? Nothing of substance. Now, you know, I was led to believe way early on that Google Stadia was going to be that final ultimate PC gamer last boss. You know, where it's like, oh yeah, you gaming PC nerds, we can have an infinite, super upgradable anytime gaming PC. You know, we had something called e-machines back in the day that kind of promised the same general concept, but let's just get down to the brass tacks of it. Cloud gaming is nonsense, okay? I despise cloud gaming with a passion, all right? And I despise it mostly because it's like the ultimate final boss of DRM, okay? You know, gaming nowadays is kind of like, oh, do you have a disc, bro? You need to be online only to play a game, buckaroo. But okay, guys, 300 IQ power move. What if the game wasn't even on your computer? Now it's literally online only, and now you're stuck with online only. Imagine paying for a service. Oh, but Google Stadia free is free, guys. Imagine paying $60 to buy a copy of a game that you can only play on Stadia server. That is some Omega lol territory, let me tell you. Now, I'm not saying that I'm totally against the idea of cloud gaming. I understand for some people that's a convenience, right? They're like, I don't want a gaming PC. I don't want a console, man. I just want to play on my cell phone, you know, as big size, or maybe I just want to play on my TV with like minimal hardware. Now, you know, I get it, buying like a $50 Android TV box, installing like all these services and just playing outright the box sounds alluring at first. It's cool, you know, you pay for Game Pass, you pay for like GeForce Pass, you pay for whatever subscription Netflix service there is, and you get like a bunch of games and they're immediately accessible. It sounds like the future. But let me tell you why it isn't. I've seen a lot of comparisons to, oh, but don't you know movies, Muda? We have streaming now. Get with the times, boomer. There's a difference between movies and video games, quite a stark difference. Movies I turn on in the background and I just have to watch them, you know, that's what it is. With a video game, I'm actually like interacting with them. And you wanna know the one thing that drives a gamer mad when they're playing their video game? Input lag! Lag in general, glitchy pixels, network disconnect. Yeah, those are the kind of things that we're not into, and that's sort of the feature set for a lot of cloud gaming stuff out there. It is what it is. But let me just continue down. Google Stadia has had no updates, but a couple days ago, I was playing on stream NVIDIA GeForce Now. Now, so far, there's 3 services for cloud gaming, right? You've got Stadia, you've got GeForce Now, and you're getting Microsoft's xCloud, which I have not really tried at all. Like, I think I've gotten maybe beta access with it, and it is what it is. It's cool, but I'm going to talk about the big 2 right now, the real big ones. Now, Google Stadia, I played Red Dead 2 on it, I played Destiny 2, and it's fine, okay? It's okay for the most part. But Google's gotten away with lying for at least both of those games. I think it came out that Destiny 2 was running on like medium settings, and Red Dead Redemption 2 wasn't actually like 4K. Things that Google said this was like no compromises, full visuals, full frame rate experience. And, you know, they basically got away with effectively lying to a lot of the consumer base out there. Now, when I played GeForce Now a couple days on stream, it was one of those services that I can almost get behind. You pay a subscription for it to get access to like premium RTX graphics from NVIDIA, and I believe there's also like a free limited tier. But the cool thing about it was I could play on their servers using games that I had already owned. And I tried some extreme examples. For instance, one of the extreme examples that I tried was playing Rainbow Six Siege, a game only accessible so far on NVIDIA GeForce Experience. Want to know how that felt like playing? Complete dog shit! I mean, that was an extreme example. I'm a Siege player, you know, I come from playing 144 frames, you know, literally no input lag, nothing, variable refresh rates, all of it. So you go from playing with no input lag to playing something that has at least a second plus of input lag. Yeah, try playing Rainbow Six Siege on cloud gaming. Not gonna happen. I managed to get a kill, but I'm pretty sure that's because the person I played against may not have had the best of reflexes at all. So I kind of got lucky. Extreme example, not worth the time. If you're getting your cloud gaming services to play your Counter-Strikes or your Rainbow Six Siege or any competitive shooter out there, or competitive game in general, just stop, go home, pool's closed, it's done. All right, you're not gonna have a good time. You're literally sitting there playing in the cracked den, homeless pits of gaming. It's just not happening. But then I played some Assassin's Creed Origins. And for the most part, this was okay. I could actually play a cloud game, hook up a controller, play it, and for the most part, it was fine. NVIDIA does an okay deal. And then I played, Yakuza 0, which also played fine. You want to know the biggest problem with it though? When I played this cloud gaming service, I found out very quickly that if you have a data cap, you're kind of fucked. I think playing 10-15 minutes of Yakuza 0 cost me like 600 megabytes of bandwidth, which that stuff adds up. If you, God forbid you play like a 50-hour RPG, I mean, you're probably paying for the data overages over just getting the actual game for like a console or PC. Like it's actually fucked when you look at it that way. But I guess most people that have data caps probably don't play Stadia or GeForce Now or xCloud, but it is what it is. Now, the actual concept behind cloud gaming isn't super difficult if you think about it. Google Stadia, GeForce Now, even xCloud effectively work like the Billy PC that I made, where when I play Rainbow Six Siege, I just fire up a Windows 10 virtual machine and I play the game that way. That's effectively what's going on at Google Stadia or GeForce servers. They have a big data center with like high-end CPUs, high-end GPUs, and they effectively portion out chunks of each of those GPUs like, hey, here's one graphic card, we can divide it up into 4 users, and they have like one 24-core processor that they say, hey, this person's playing Assassin's Creed, give him 8 cores. This person's playing like Cuphead, give him like 2 or 4 cores, because that's all the game needs. So they have like these multiple styles of virtual machines that they divvy up and pass out to users. And they get by because Google has the giant data centers, NVIDIA has the giant data centers, Microsoft has giant data centers, and they can effectively send out a bunch of these virtual machines that people connect to and they can play games with and whatnot. Really, the variances are how they transfer video to one user and their data center and how they handle inputs. Usually, if you can finish that, you've got the holy grail of cloud gaming. But they don't even do that! Back in the days, cloud gaming with OnLive, you could sort of let it pass because they were kind of an upstart deal. But you're sitting with Google, you're sitting with NVIDIA, you're sitting with these, and you find out very quickly that this has limitations that you cannot bypass. Ladies and gentlemen, as a product of physics, you cannot get rid of latency. No matter what, it will take time for data to transfer from their servers to your house. You can't just get negative latency, Google. You can't just do it. You can't have a good experience with cloud gaming. This is the kind of stuff that I knew was going to fail on startup. Google Stadia has not been getting updates. Like, literally, the game updates have slowed down to nothing. As far as I know, the only games that came out, they just had a big boom and they called it a day. And as far as I know, the service is completely inaccessible for people who don't have the Founders Edition of Stadia, which, by the way, costs $150 fucking dollars. I'm just going to say it like it is, okay? Cloud gaming is the general, ass end of video gaming right now. I don't understand, if you're going to get into the cloud gaming sphere, for a couple games that you can buy, if you manage to save some of your money around, you could just get yourself an actual used console, like a PlayStation or an Xbox One. And then you can actually play the games without half of these network issues, these latency problems, and at least actually own copies of your games. I love my PlayStation 4 a lot. The best part about having a PlayStation 4? Owning the discs, because without the internet, I can pop in my copy of Red Dead 2 and play that start to finish. You know what I can't do with Google Stadia? Is buy the same game for the same price and never own it entirely. This is just sort of where, unfortunately, video games are headed to. You're going to a place where cloud gaming is becoming almost the norm. People want to get these subscription services out. It's like TV. Everyone's got to have their Netflix. Everyone has to have their Disney Pluses. And the thing is, with gaming, we're slowly headed to that direction. Everyone's got to have a sub-service somehow, because that's kind of where the money is in a lot of the situation. Microsoft's Game Pass is really successful. It's a good service. Don't get me wrong. I have Game Pass. I like it. But that's where most gaming is headed to. What I'm wholly against is this cloud gaming nonsense. Because the thing is, yes, convenience is there. Yes, there's a lot of stuff there. But there's a lot of stuff to take away from the overall experience than to ultimately give back. Ladies and gentlemen, there will never exist a time when this stuff reaches native gaming speeds. You will never have a game look as crisp as something that's rendering locally to your television, and you will never have input lag as good as something that is running natively, again, to your television or computer screen. You will never have a proper experience on cloud gaming. You'll have close to an experience, but is it really worth it at the end of the day to pay so much and to get literally the ass end of the experience, all the negatives with very few positives. That's just where it's at. You know, I get that there's a lot of people out there who say, yeah, I like these services because I can sit back and never have to update a game. I can just jump right into it. You know, there's something called patience in life, and you can probably let a game download over a night and actually have a better experience overall than blowing your load at once and consuming complete garbage gameplay. I'm just going to put it out like it is. Did I know Google Stadia was going to join the graveyard family of other Google products? Absolutely. You knew from the second they launched this, they actually apparently launched it with the Founders Edition, that it wasn't going to succeed. They were going to blow their loads on a couple games. They were going to push it out, and they didn't get traction. They screwed up on having multiplayer, you know, with connecting with other PC players, having that giant pool. They lost it on the game support. They lost it on a lot of things. They lost it on the fact that it wasn't a fully functional product at launch. Google Stadia might have succeeded if we could just all connect to their servers and play them day one. And it's not like Google didn't have the actual data centers to support it. They did. But they completely screwed their launch up, and unfortunately it's going to be one of those launches that hampers the entire product, and it's why this service is going to be headed straight to the gutter. GeForce Experience, I don't want to shill it. I'm not getting paid by any one of these people in particular, but the thing is, at least on that service, okay, it's decent. But there's some dark sides to it as well. You know, for a while before it actually launched, I was able to play games like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. I was able to play a lot of these Activision titles. Because of an actual disagreement with NVIDIA and Activision, you are not allowed to play Activision games on NVIDIA anymore. So again, the problem with these cloud services is out of nowhere, like Netflix, your games just disappear. That's the unfortunate dark side to it, and that's something that could happen. You lose licensing rights on music for certain video games, that whole thing might get pulled unless it's updated by the developer themselves. That is a very stark reality with cloud gaming. And I'm just going to be honest with you, do you want to live in a world like that? Let me know in the comment section below. Because as far as I know, I like owning my games and I like playing my games. The last thing I ever want to go to is a world where the only way to play my games is to stream them directly from servers. It's bad enough we're at a point where games that don't need to be online, like Ghost Recon Breakpoint, for instance, have an online-only component. And there's people that defend that shit, not knowing, you know, actual truths to the matter. And the problem with cloud gaming is there's people that defend this shit without realizing that you're really getting 10 times more of the negatives than any of the positives that you could be getting out of this situation. I know it's cool, interesting tech to a lot of people, but it's tech that really isn't applicable in the video game sphere. And that's just where it is. So my whole long-winded rant out of the way, you know, fuck Google Stadia, fuck all this cloud gaming nonsense. Call me a boomer, I really don't fucking care, but I just had to get it out of my system, dude, you know. Now I'm gonna go back to my adult establishment, play some Yakuza Kiwami 2 Siege, I don't care, locally, without input lag, without blotchy pixels, you call it a day. This is me, Mudahar. And if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I just goat-seed Stadia. I'm out.